now. I don't have a printer, but basically every session that I do, I bring this along. At the top, it's got the day, all the kind of details that I need to have. It's got the term objectives, which I kind of come up with as a head coach and the other coaches as a group in meetings. Then obviously what happened in the last session, which obviously we did butterfly technique, and then IM, which will be the focus today for the turns. Basically we had a competition, sorry, it's coming up, but we have loads of little competitions coming up to the big one. And we had our own club championships where basically the kids compete each other but just work on their new times and get new times for the season. And during this competition it kind of became apparent to me that the turns weren't to scratch, and according to the ASA website it states that it has to be very clear on all turns, and at galas you have 4 judges per 1 swimmer, so it's very strict the whole time. So allowing me to watch the swimmers during competitions as well as training kind of allows me to analyse and actually then I can plan my sessions in advance. And this is backed up by evaluation in public session planning by Robinson 2010. It's kind of known this session as the micro cycle, so it's kind of just that one-off session instead of, I haven't really planned this, it's kind of I had to kind of fit it into my actual macro cycle. Cross and Mark suggested that micro cycle is a short training period and is more detailed than the other cycles. Bob 2000 also suggests that the micro session can just be a very detailed, very short period of time. Okay, so what did I plan and why did I plan it? Basically, according to Bomber 1994, planning is one of the characteristics and requirements to a successful training session. A well-organised and planned programme greatly increases the efficiency and the future positive outcomes for my swimmers. And according to Skills Active, they have illustrated that the main coaching standard and to be excellent, to have excellence in your coaching, is to plan and prepare a series of coaching sessions. Overall, 42 swimmers, like I said, and during this session, I have 32 swimmers turn up. Tuesdays is actually the first session of the week, so it's always quite a popular one, but unfortunately, I have the whole pool to myself, but it's only 4 lanes of 25 metres, so it's not ideal. So leading up to this session, we were working on the 200 metres front crawls, and the aim was to try and constantly have those tumble turns, streamlining little bits of technique to get to where we needed to towards the end of the season. As a coach myself, I'm a very technical coach. I care more about the relationships that I have with the athletes, the technical aspects, more than actually where they are, where they stand on the podium. All swimmers have to turn up to the session 10 minutes in advance. This just gives me time to do any registers, any health safety checks I need to do, make sure any kids that have got equipment I can go and get for them. If they need to give me any paperwork for competitions, because there's constant paperwork, I kind of get a chance to, if they need any questions, they're there. And then it doesn't eat into the time, because this session is actually only an hour and 50 minutes, and that's not a lot, especially when the session's an hour. I don't really get much time to, just goes like that. So before the swimmers actually enter the pool, I always do kind of feedback of what happened last week, in case any of the swimmers weren't there, and just so what I did in the session before doesn't waste time having to repeat it. So we talked about the previous session, which enabled me to remind all of them about the little tips, and this is what kind of brings the session together and hopefully I can move into the future plans. R. Martin suggests that communication during the session can be an effective way of coaching. Performance as a coach athlete is something I take very seriously, so I need to have that communication constantly, always throughout the whole session. Why do we warm up? The session got underway and it lasted about 10 minutes. It was 650 front crawl, so 2 lengths times 6 of the front crawl technique, alternating swim and kick without using the floats. I then alternated it with front crawl. According to Robinson, a warm-up is at the beginning of the session and it's to prepare the athletes physically and mentally for the task ahead. Lead in 2009 also suggests that the warm-up increases heart rate, increases circulation to the muscle, tendons and ligaments, and it can act prevent injury during the actual session. I found that in the past, swimmers have competed in warm-up. They become a lot more focused on the session ahead. I really think it kind of their moment to, okay, the fun in the changing room is finished, the little banter that I have with me and the other kids are finished, we're in the pool now and we've got to work. And it kind of helps them that when they go to competitions, they can know what they're doing in their warm-up, because I can't actually help them in warm-ups during competition. Then after this, I always move on to a preset. Like I said, I'm a really technical coach, so I have always a technical session, well, set before and after. So today, kind of in this session that was taken back in November, I did an IM session, individual ready, so it's all full strokes, kind of as one event. And I ask a lot of questions to my swimmers during the whole session. So what is IM, or what is it, what turns do we have, what comes after this 25 meters? I'm just constantly throwing things out, as I just think it, once again, really a great communication. I can understand, I can see that they're understanding what I want them, we can kind of move on and instead of going backwards. This set was with fins, and instead of wasting time, I kind of put the brush over the back so that we don't have any time wasting. And according to Mark Williams' skills acquisition, the first is the process that athletes use to learn or acquire a new skill. And a skill can be defined as a task, or like such simple things as typing or drawing. It does not have to be sport-related. Or in instance, it can be throw catching or a catch in the swimming pool, or just the actual thing itself. So the first thing I asked them to do was the fly. And as you can see, this is one of the older swimmers, just swimming fly. It's a really complicated, again, she's got the fins on like we had. Both arms have to reach over the pool. The issue I had when I did the actual, to get before I got to the full stroke, was the drills. Some of them were quite young, they were quite petite, and knowing where to put one hand, we struggled. So actually I took a bit more time on that, and I actually didn't complete my whole session plan. I really had to focus on the drill, and I did, understand. And I think some of the kids, the younger ones, especially in the V lane, weren't understanding it as much, so I took it back a notch and kind of tried different things. I had to kind of demonstrate physically. Obviously, being on poolside is kind of hard to show exactly what I wanted to do, so I did ask another kid to demonstrate. I think I used my cognitive theory in coaching style, and it's primarily the stage gaining information about the skill and using the cognitive process to produce movement close to the desired movement. The kids were starting to get a little bit restless at this point because they didn't really understand what they were doing. They were getting stressed, and they knew that they had a competition coming up actually on that Saturday, and a lot of them were swimming 100 fly. Then I moved on to the backstroke after I'd done a few more attempts at the butterfly. And again, many of the streamlining position we worked on and rotating the shoulders like in this one. We did a few drills on it, a little bit of skills and kit, and we rounded it off at the end to do it. We'd only done backstroke about a week before, so a lot of the kids still kind of had it fresh in their mind. Then again, I went on to the front crawl, and this one, as our main stroke, was simple, the stretch and the glide. The stretch and the glide is the main thing, and actually that's the thing that we're working on as a whole in the whole of the club, is the front crawl glide. Front crawl, we are as a club known for 100 metres front crawl and 200 metres front crawl. Then I went on to the breaststroke, and obviously we didn't have any flippers for this set. And actually this is the one most of the kids enjoy. I'm not a breaststroker, but they love it. I think the different drills that you could do, it was fun. We did one arm, we did no arms, we did it swimming on your back. I tried loads of different drills that were fun and kind of keeping it snappy. During the whole preset, I did ask questions, and I was being productive and positive, as well as creative. And I think Robinson states that this is another way of effective coaching. Effective question requires me to combine with effective listening. Questions can help me connect with the swimmers, and it can give me more of an understanding of what they are understanding. And it demonstrates that swimmers and I can cooperate during the swimming, and of course it reduces the mistakes during the session. Price for 2000. we do a main set. The main set happens in every session depending on what we're doing. It can be a distance or a lower set. It's kind of where the swimmers focus. It's the most serious part of the session. And during all my sessions I have my own assistant coach. She's on my timing, she's writing down the session, the times that the kids are getting. And during the session, I had this with 200 front crawl, there had to be 4 seconds off their PB, and 200 IM off their PB as well. As I've already stated, the swimmers were focusing on the swimming 200 competition in a few weeks. During the session, I had a few issues with the kids getting to their jump and stuff. So I did get a little bit angry, maybe too angry. I did shout, and some of the swimmers did actually come out, and we restarted the session again. Well, just the 200 IM, front crawl even. According to the ASA, large amounts of effort can actually decrease flexibility in the core, and core posture will then result in it. So I kind of keep the main set short but hard, and they are always working at either 80% to VO2 max. When planning my session, especially when I'm working towards my main set, I use the acronym SPORT, specific, progression, overload, reversibility, and tedium. LAR suggests that sport is a good way for planning, and it can be an effective way to move forward. So specific, the training needs to be specific. I increased the volume of exercise for progression. Overload, I didn't want it. They must overload to increase the performance and fitness. So on and so forth. So the aim really was to then work on the tumble turns, but unfortunately, because I spent so much time on the butterfly technique, I wasn't able to get them to do this in the actual session. So we literally, instead of spending about 10 minutes, I only spent really about 6 or 7, so the kids only really got to go like twice. But I did, during this bit, because they go one at a time, I was able to really have one-on-one feedback, which I thought was really good for the kids. Obviously, the tumble turns are the fast